OCFA's Training and Safety section recently held a hands-on elevator operations class taught by lead instructor firefighter George Robledo. Attendees participated in a brief lecture before practicing tactics on the elevators at headquarters and a parking garage in Irvine. The class covered how to safely lock out and tag out an active elevator system, elevator control room overview, elevator door picking and pulling, elevator hoistway overview, and drift hydraulic traction elevators. Here are Academy 42 cadre members Fire Apparatus Engineer Paramedic Ray McQueen and Firefighter Paramedic Jeff Butler with a few tips on picking elevator doors.
Good morning. My name is Ray McQueen, Engineer Paramedic from OCFA, and this is Firefighter Paramedic Jeff Butler. Today we're going to be talking about elevator picking techniques. Before we start any operation, it's important to size up our emergency. Are we dealing with a medical patient or just a trapped occupant? The answer to this question is going to determine the speed at which we can free the trapped occupant in our elevators. Your elevator size up should begin the moment you arrive on scene. We're going to determine what height our building is. Generally, hydraulic type elevators are good for stories up to 6 floors high, and then traction elevators with counterbalance are good for any height, typically found in our high-rise buildings. In addition, the type of elevator we're looking at is going to determine where we can find our machine room. And hydraulic type elevators, like the one we're dealing with now, our machine room is generally located on the ground floor in the same lobby, right adjacent to the hoistway of our elevator. In the machine room, you can also find your main disconnect. With a traction type elevator, our machine room is going to be located generally on the top floor, right above the hoistway. And there you can find your elevator controls and your main disconnect. Once we determine whether we're dealing with an emergency or not, we can move to our next steps. Going into the lobby, we can try to determine where the patient is in relation to the landing of the elevator. We're going to start with the least invasive techniques, working our way to the more invasive techniques. Before picking the elevator, we can try a simple emergency reset by shutting down the power in the machine room, waiting approximately 30 seconds, and then turning the power back on. Hopefully this fixes our problem and we're able to free the occupant. There are situations where this won't work. Next, we can start by creating phase 1 operation and having the elevator recall to the first floor. If this doesn't work, then we're going to move over to our picking techniques. There are basically 4 types of elevator doors. There's a single slide elevator door from left to right or right to left. There's a center opening door, a 2-speed elevator door, or a swing door. Today, we're going to be focusing on picking techniques for the center opening door and the 2-speed elevator door, which we'll show you momentarily. Here we have a center opening door and our power is still on. Because we have not yet secured the power to this elevator car, the only picking technique we can use is a paddle that Firefighter Butler has in his hand. What he's going to do is insert the paddle through both doors and he's going to try to reach the bumpers. Once he reaches the bumpers, he's turning the paddle left or right until it actuates the door mechanism, therefore opening it to remove our trapped occupants. If for some reason the elevator paddle doesn't work, we're now ready to resort to our other picking techniques using any one of these tools. Remember, the paddle is the only tool we can use with the power on. If we resort to a top pick or a side pick, we must first secure the power to the elevator using our lockout tagout kit. Now we've located the machine room where we can find the main disconnect. What we're going to do is secure the power to the elevator by taking the disconnect and turning it off. As an additional safety measure, we're going to incorporate a lockout tagout kit on to make sure nobody inadvertently turns our elevator on. Our elevator is now safe to pick for the duration of our operation. Now that we've shut off the power, we have a center opening elevator door. We're going to attempt to top pick it first, as Firefighter Butler is doing. What he's looking for is the locking mechanism and the rollers. Once he hits it, he's going to push upward and slightly to the left, activating the rollers, and this should release our outside elevator doors. Top picking generally works on 2-speed elevator doors, single slide elevator doors, and center opening elevator doors. Now that the door is open, he's going to chalk it in place. We're going to locate where the car is and proceed to rescue the victim. Now that we've secured the power, we're now ready to pick our 2-speed elevator door. Because both door panels are approximately 2.5 to 3 feet long, I'm going to select my appropriate size tool. I'm going to go in for a side pick. For this reason, I'm going to look for my side picking tool, and the medium length should be fine. Now that I've selected my appropriate tool for my 2-speed elevator door, I'm going to get myself in position. I want to slowly place my tool in between the 2 panels and rotate it upwards. As I'm going up, I want to gently turn my tool so that the tab's facing up. Now I'm in a position where I can slide this tool down and activate my rollers behind my door panel. I'm continuing until I feel resistance or feel a little click. Once I feel that and I've activated the rollers, I'm going to take my right hand and use gentle pressure to open my 2-speed door. I'm only opening enough to get my boot through it. Now that it's open, I'm taking my tool out, grabbing my door chock to hold the elevator door in place, and we've completed the first of 2 steps to rescuing our trapped victims. Now I need to access my interior door to rescue my trapped occupants. I'm going to pull down the flat, slide my elevator open, and have my victims come on out. There are some situations where we won't be able to access the doors right next to the elevator car. In these instances, we can always go the floor above the car, open the elevator door, and then use our elevator pulling tools. We have a 6-foot tool and an 8-foot tool. Essentially, what we're doing is using the end of the tool to actuate the rollers and the locking mechanism, thereby opening the interior and exterior doors of the elevator. It's the same concept as picking the elevator.